My wife of 20 years cheated on me with a tennis player, left me, and the kids in shambles. So, this is how I completely destroyed her life. I am a 49-year-old male, married for 19 years, with 4 children, girls aged 18, 16, 15, and a 12-year-old son. I have been on a cycle with my wife for 15 years. I wake up to throwing up every morning due to severe stomach and anxiety conditions. I work in finance for 25 years. My wife has been threatening to leave me for 15 years. The cycle usually goes like this. My wife starts being absent, tennis at 6 o'clock, drinks with the ladies at the club until 11 to 12, then to bed. This accelerates until she is gone 4 to 5 nights a week. I usually don't protest too much until it gets extreme because I like being home with the kids. I enjoy making dinner and being here for all the little things, giving them rides, and all the things that come from having a family. My wife loved it while they were little, but now it's her social life. Eventually, when her partying gets excessive and it's hard to ignore, it comes down to one of 3 things. 1. I'm a social misfit who is content not socializing. 2. I'm not even having this conversation. 3. This relationship isn't working. I don't love you and want a divorce. The first few times this happened, I rolled over on my belly, begging to work it out. I want to be a full-time father to my children. She would briefly alter her behavior, and then it would start again. You have to understand, this would affect me for months. It was traumatic every time it happened. We went to counseling, but when the therapist started to talk about her, we stopped going. She shows no concern or remorse about how her behavior impacts me or the kids. The kids love her, but they call her out. All of them have said to me, "Dad, if you get divorced, it's her fault, not yours. She is just not here." We have 4 kids. My career is not what it was, so I'm not making enough to support 2 households of 4 kids. I live in a high-cost area, and it would devastate me financially, to which I would never recover. Being financially secure is very important to me. I've always saved and lived below my means at a job I hate to be secure. Losing that security would be a dark cloud over me for life. One part of me wants to tough it out for 3 more years, prepare the finances, and have my 3 girls off at school. The other part of me feels like I'm dying every day, riddled with anxiety and a sense of doom. I'm very torn, and finally, I want to be my son's father every day. He is 12, and we have a very strong bond. Being there for him matters so much to me. There is no sex. My wife has made me feel so undesirable. I can't imagine ever being intimate again with anyone. Even when women flirt with me, which happens not infrequently, I feel violently uncomfortable. I can't process it. What happened to me? I used to be totally in charge of my life. Big Wall Street job, adventure travel, ladies, etc. Now I can't handle a smile and kind word from a pretty lady. I'm so burnt out. I feel like I've been plugged into a car battery for 15 years and totally fried. Today, my daughter and I went to an antiques fair. We took my wife's car because mine is in the shop. Halfway into the 2-hour drive, we got some sodas and looked in the center console for a straw. We found a baggie of shrooms. This chick is driving around on shrooms, and she's a nurse. Did I also mention I found a bunch of fake vaccine cards she made up? She is off the rails. I got into therapy. I've been hitting the gym hard and been ignoring her. I feel like she's trying to be nice to bring the heat down, but I'm focused on myself and trying to pretend she isn't there until I can raise the cash I need to bolt. Good for you. Keep fighting the good fight. Update. Last night, my wife asked me for an open marriage. I told her to start looking for an apartment and booked a mediator. That was my line. My poor kids can't imagine how my life is going to look, but I think she's in love, which I'm going to use to try and get this done fast and easy. She's not even thinking about money. She's thinking about Saturday night. I'm focused entirely on my kids and preserving my kingdom. 20 years for kids. It's been a wasted life trying to make this lady happy, and I'll never forgive myself for how much time I spent on this. Update. My soon-to-be ex-wife, 48, of 20 years, has her dating life warmed up. She looks great, has a new apartment, and is totally remorseless after she asked me for an open marriage last week. She's been essentially absent from the family since she went full QA and psychosis for almost a year, totally obsessed about conspiracies. That left her gone from the family. She came out of that partially in January, and threw herself into a new nursing job in tennis, of course. I encouraged it. Oh, honey, you want to go play tennis? Play tennis and have a few drinks with the girls. Of course, it's twice this week. No problem. I got you. Baby, go have fun. Then, the friends changed from the nice ladies who behaved to the drunk divorced women in town, and once or twice a week out till 9 or 10 turned into 4 to 5 times a week out to 12 or later. I started to put my foot down. The kids are in open revolt against their mother, girls aged 18, 16, 15, and a boy aged 12. The solution she proposed is either a divorce or an open marriage. I get hit on all the time, and I have opportunities one want to pursue, she said. With 3 kids at home and 1 in college, she rented a 1-bedroom. I love the kids, but now her income is gone, and I will barely support the house on a shoestring. I will be paying her every month, and on top of that, I only have about half of college saved. I suspect whatever crumbs I have left, I'll pay for that too. What the hell? Are you kidding me? This is my effing life. My poor wonderful kids fully understand mom's cheating. She says she doesn't care about money, but we will see. First mediation is tomorrow. I'm just so freaking sad. I am prepared to stand before whatever God is and be judged by how hard I tried and how much I tried to earn this woman's love. It's been a real hard day today. It's hard to breathe. I don't exaggerate. I am in physical agony. She's at the US Open, I am sure, on a date and probably blowing some dude in the parking lot. My kids and I are here in shell shock, and she doesn't have a care in the world. There is no fairness in this world. Update. Literally, I just want someone to tell me I have terminal cancer so I can just be done. The worst part, other than sitting home with my 4 kids while my wife dolls up to go be with her AP, is that because I've been covering all the home duties now for several years, I have zero social life. My wife is the belle of the ball. She is a social butterfly with her tennis club and every ladies' club in town. Every bartender in town knows her by name. Me? I've been working a high-stress Wall Street job for 20 years that is destroying me in a different way. I've been a high earner. My wife has a new car, new wardrobe, jewelry, every Gotum vitamin, and makeup beauty product known to man. I drive a Jeep with 170k miles, and I wear Birkenstocks and t-shirts. The whole community knows her now. Her kids want nothing to do with her because she has been totally absent at home for years. Yet, in our community, because I got my social itch scratched at work, she is the beautiful new single lady who everyone likes. I'm just the husband everyone sees walking the dog or being home with the kids. My life is not completely upside down. I don't have single friends to hang with. I'm just the guy that provided and is now left with nothing. I out of this life, God, if he is real, can go to hell. There is no justice, there is no fairness, and I don't want to be the silent guy in the background taking all the body blows anymore. I just need an escape from the feeling, and I don't care how to get it. I'm getting old. My hair is thinning. I used to be a captain of the universe. Now I'm just completely broken on multiple fronts. Update tonight. I asked my wife for a brief chat. I was calm and collected, but I'm sure my voice wavered a few times. I gave her a brief update on our daughter at college, who she isn't speaking to start it off light, maybe 15 seconds. I then told her what financial documents I had started gathering and would provide her copies of everything we were submitting to the mediator, etc. Background. My daughter, on her own, told my wife she is embarrassed by her behavior around town and said if she wants to carry on at bars and date with embarrassing behavior in our small town, would she please move to another town and school district if those were her plans. My daughter then came to me and said, "It's a test, Dad. If she moves to a different town, it means she won't sacrifice her social life to be close to us. Let's see what she does." Okay, into the conversation after financial matters, I got serious and said, I knew daughter spoke to her, and I wanted to share some info. I told her I had spoken to 5 people in our community about us splitting. 3 gave the usual condolences, but 2 had something more interesting to say. One person said she was sorry and that she had noticed a change in my wife's behavior and the way she was conducting herself outside the home, a heart-to-heart, so to speak. She said she was sorry, but that she never found the right combination of words, timing, and courage, and she wishes she had. The other person said they weren't surprised, and that they had been creating distance between my wife intentionally. They even noted a man who refused to do work at my house because he saw how she acted and didn't want to be alone with her. This person said, "I'm sorry to say, she has been behaving like this for a while. Honestly, I feel like such a fool, such an epic fool." I told my wife that my 3 daughters are hyper-aware of this dynamic, and I hope she considers this in her living arrangements. I explained this has embarrassed them, never mind me, and it's caused a lot of. After I told her the stories, she stared at me in silence for almost a minute, sort of speechless, and then said, "Anyways, so I'm going to create a Google document for the mediator that we can share to keep track of things." 20 years, for children, stay-at-home wife. She couldn't even muster an apology for the humiliation and embarrassment we've lived through. We live in a town of 7,000 people. It's not big. Update. I'm a little better. It's all relative. I still cry. I'm still extremely anxious about the future and how I will handle running a house, a career, and 3 teenagers, but wonderful ones at that. As my SDBXW pursues her best life, whatever that means, she is still estranged from my oldest and love bombing my 2 teenage daughters and son. They see right through it. The daughters have confirmed they want to reside with me. They have stated they will visit and may spend a few nights at mom's, but have no intention of living there. So, while we will have joint legal custody, I will be primary. Okay, I've started gathering in all the material for mediation. We haven't gotten to the meat of anything, but she knows she is walking free and clear. She only has to take care of herself, and she's leaving me with 4 kids and 9 years of unfunded college to deal with. Maybe I'm naive, but I think financially I might survive it. I'm mourning the hopes and dreams. I'm worried because I think my soon-to-be ex-wife, SDBX, will be present with the kids at first, but will constantly lose herself in her social life. She's done it a dozen times in our 20 years together, and I just don't see how she will break the pattern. I worry my kids won't see as much of her as time goes on, and not only does it hurt me to think they will lose their mom, but I'm genuinely scared about how I will fill both roles. I'm supposed to have a career to which I have ignored since this all went down. I'm down 30 pounds, starting to do some strength training. It's funny, I was walking the dog, and we have 2 ways to get to the house. One, a really steep hill no one walks up, and a gentler one. I'm like, give me that steep effing hill. I want the pain. I've also noticed that I'm thinking more about all the really crappy, hurtful things my wife did over the years and less about the things I'm going to miss. My wife has a very friendly way of saying hi. Everyone who knows her is instantly charmed by the way she is outwardly excited to see them, even over the years when I felt so intentionally alienated from her. She'd give me that hello, and I'd be smitten again. The other day, she used it on me, and I swear it smacked me in the face. It took me 20 freaking years to realize that it's all fake. It's just a voice inflection she found effective all along. I thought there was love and warmth behind her wonderfully sunny disposition. Now I know I was a fool, but I am a fool no longer. Update. She asked me if I want to participate in the conversation with our daughters, age 16, 15, and our son, 12. I'm speechless and have no idea how to react. I'm a few weeks out from learning of my wife's affair. I'm doing okay most of the time. What's bothering me lately is that I'll be going about my day or laying down to bed and boom, I'm flooded with X-rated images and scenes in my head about my wife's affair. It's very disturbing. It makes my heart start to race, and I'm having trouble sleeping at the moment. It's the worst thing I'm experiencing, and if any of you have tips or suggestions, I'd appreciate it. Update. I was at lunch today on a road trip with my daughters, and one of them asked me a question I knew I had the answer to on a text chain with my SDBXW. While scrolling to look, I scrolled past at least 5 lies about where she's been at night over the past 2 months. I don't know why, but it really kicked my sass. Anything that reveals the completeness and totality of the betrayal is still very impactful on me, and I had a hard time pulling myself together. My girls noticed it, and it sucked. I would rather rip up 100 bills in a cold shower than get back to my wife. She was neglectful and, in many ways, cruel in our marriage, but I loved her, and the total and complete betrayal is just simmering inside me. For so long in my marriage, I had to kowtow to my SDBXW because I knew if I escalated her issues, it would lead to a divorce threat. I was so desperate to be there every day for my kids, and in truth, I loved her, so I would eat crap and back off. While I don't think my wife earlier in our marriage, she has always had a problem keeping an appropriate social life. The process of constantly stifling myself really made me an anxious, nervous wreck at the end, not who I remember myself to be. Now, I've been further emasculated by being publicly cheated on by a totally unrepentant partner. The brazen and total lack of regret make me honestly want to hurt her physically. I would never and have never, but there is some fire in my chest screaming for retribution, some sense of establishing dominance again because I'm so sick of what this woman turned me into. When I'm flabbergasted, I let it happen. Sex has me anxious, getting back into it. It's been at least 3 to 4 years since I had good mutual sex with my wife. I feel so out of practice. Unless I meet a woman whose fetish is 45 seconds of confusion, I'm not sure how to hop back in that horse. How do I get myself there? I have no idea, but watching my wife screwing her brains out for the next couple of years isn't going to help. I'm so effing pissed and broken. I want to take a flamethrower to her wardrobe or something. I don't know, but I'm getting effing pissed as opposed to hurt. Update, and I'm sorry for that. I don't want to lean on anyone too much IRL lest I exhaust them. I'm writing for my own catharsis, don't feel the need to reply if I get monotonous. It's like the mind jumps to one thing to another. 1 hour in, focused on my new responsibilities. How will I hold up financially? How will I bring laughter and joy back into my home? It's buried so deep inside me. Sometimes I wonder if the kids would be better with my wife. She seems airy and upbeat, and I'm on the bat and death march in a glass case of isolation. Then, when that worry subsided, I went to the betrayal. Oh my God, she was screwing that guy that night, partying, doing shrooms with some tennis player, while I was sitting at home, depressed, and wondering why she was making so many plans. It really is true that the fewer details, the better, because when I start connecting dots to real-time events, I really spiral fast and hard. I'm thinking I kind of let my wife go 6 months ago. I was so tired of fighting for her to want to be home more that I just let her go. And boy, did she go. For those following in my posts, in my last, I mentioned I moved my wife out of the master bedroom instead of sleeping in the guest room, which I'm sure she saw as beneath her. She packed and left to stay with a friend. Her lease starts October 1st, but I doubt she will spend another night in this house again. She's not moving out of town, despite my kids begging her to. That's annoying. She's too close to the bars and friends and tennis. Kids' wishes be damned. Her social life is always number one. Then, once I can put the future in the betrayal to bed for a while, it gets to trying to keep the place running smoothly while the kids are grieving. I'm trying, but I am not holding it together all the time. When does she stop becoming the focus of household conversation? I can't shake the feeling that I'm the loser in this situation. See, now I'm back to obsessing about the betrayal again. Updates. She stayed in town, but it doesn't seem to matter. The kids won't be with her. She thinks it's all because of her ongoing affair and will blow over, but it's not. It's about the years of prioritizing her social life over her family. They have seen it for many years. I assume she's with her AP since her apartment is not ready yet, but honestly, that's fine. It hurts like hell, but at least she is gone, and to some extent, out of sight, out of mind. It said yesterday I was cleaning out her office of junk, and a receipt jumped out at me, lingerie in June. Crap like that really puts me on a spiral. I know what's happened, but for some reason, when the reality of the betrayal becomes real and I'm faced with the particulars, it really puts me in a bad spot. My fight or flight response kicks in, and I absolutely cannot compartmentalize it. I've tried doing push-ups every time the images of her and her new partner creep into my head. We live in an affluent area, a small town in suburban NYC. My kids have been telling their high school friends what mom has done in her behavior, so I know this is going to get around town. I just feel so isolated here because she knows everyone. Everyone loves my wife. I just think she is going to not miss a beat socially or in any way. Yet, the kids are totally estranged from her. No one is crying that she left, but from the outside, she's just trying to be happy. I can't leave this town for 6 years because of the school district. I feel so exposed walking around. I'm sure she's filled many heads with half-truths and lies about me, maybe for a long time. It's not that I care, but I'm not immune to social anxiety. I can't shake the feeling that I'm being judged somehow. Anyway, most docs are in, and mediation starts in earnest in October. I'm defeated, humiliated in our community. I just can't wrap my head around how brazen and unrepentant she is. The deeper I delve, unintentionally, into the betrayal, I see how complete it was. No remorse, no embarrassment. It's all so ugly, and I can't leave. I have to stay here in the crucible, surrounded by people who like her and really don't know me. It shouldn't bother me like this, I know, but it's really tough, and it does. Update. He's having a tough time. He's being torn apart by his love for his mother on one side and the horror at what she is doing on the other. I welcomed him, brought his blanket and pillow in there. I get up with him when his alarm goes off and make him breakfast. Honestly, he may be as much a comfort to me as I am to him. That said, he's 12. How long do I let it go on? Do I let it just go on naturally for as long as he wants? Or is there a point where I try and steer him back to his own spot? I just want to give him comfort and security, but I don't want to mess the kid up for life by sleeping with dad until he's 14. Have any of you had anything similar happen? My heart breaks for him. I want to take his pain for him so badly. Update. Okay, this weekend wasn't horrible. My ex has been gone out of the house for almost 2 weeks. She came over and spent maybe an hour with the kids Thursday night and got a very cold shoulder. She made no effort to contact any of them since then, of course. The weekend is for her AP and her social life. The kids get left behind. Okay, this is what I want. To be the rock, to be the nucleus of whatever this family evolves into over the next 30 years. She's not even thinking 30 days into the future. I am pretty sure I know who AP is. All I can say is that if it is him, I'm not jealous. I'm almost insulted. I was expecting more. I have to admit I am starting to feel a genuine sense of relief that she is gone. Not feeling good, mind you, but relief. I do still feel like crap. I do have to battle intrusive thoughts, but I've beaten them back all weekend. I went out for a drink on Friday. A beautiful lady smiled at me. I didn't approach. I'm not ready, but a smile was enough for now. I can work on that. The L's have not had the same sense of despair. I've had moments where I've shrugged it off and said, I've laughed with the kids. I did some work around the house. I drove my kids all over and made guacamole with my daughter, not sitting around crying my eyes out. That said, I find myself talking to her or about her to myself when I'm alone. I won't really turn the corner until that stops. I've already started mediation this month. Her apartment lease starts October 1st, so I won't even have to let her over to make dinner for the kids. I don't feel okay, but I feel progress, and for now, progress is enough. I'm coming to terms with the idea that I've been abused. It's weird as a man to realize that I'm not a passive man, not one to back away from conflict. Yet, this woman put me in a box of neglect where I had to choose between my self-respect and peace and seeing my kids. I chose my kids, but it wore me down to a nub, an anxious shell. I'm ashamed I let myself become, but now that my kids are rejecting her, I don't have to do that anymore. I'm sure I'll be crying in my Cheerios someday soon, but not today, and today is enough for now. Seeing my son look at me with those dead fish eyes and hear her list reasons I deserve this, it's so appalling. This beautiful person I put so much into. I put myself in her situation. Even if we were still splitting up, I would be so remorseful that I ended it that way. I would have been sorry enough to my children that I would have ended it if for no reason than to stop traumatizing them. 20 years and 4 children, granted, it wasn't great. Maybe it did have to end. She certainly hasn't shown any interest in making our relationship better in over a decade, but zero remorse, not one shred of warmth or regret for the pain she has caused, like I deserved it or something. Yesterday, she said, I went out for lap dances with clients. That was 2008, and I told her before I went and came home early. It was like, what? 2008? I got lap dances with clients once? That justifies it? It makes me sick. Who the hell is this person that can just act like openly dating someone inside our marriage is okay? I don't know. I know I'm never getting the satisfaction, but for F's sake, is a sincere apology too much to ask? Update. My SDBXW is back in the house. Ugh, 6 weeks from finding out. Those that have seen my previous posts know the story. Her apartment isn't ready, but the place she was staying was no longer available. So, here I am again, trying to move on but still under the same roof. Mediation is next week. I can barely stand being in the same room with her. It makes me sick. The firestorm from the kids has cooled down, and while they are still nothing close to okay with her, it's now just a cold meat locker of a home until she is gone. Her boxes of stuff are packed up everywhere, and while I know I shouldn't, I am happy that she will be leaving soon. I can't help but feel cheated of a future family that I had worked so hard for. It's just such a sad and depressing state for all of us. I really have no dreams. I have no future I'm trying to build for myself or others, and I'm just existing. I can't seem to find meaning in anything. Yes, I love my kids beyond words, and yes, I am here for them. But they are getting older, one in college. Two are teens who have their own life, their own thing. I don't really know how to rebuild. Dating sounds horrifying, and even if it didn't, I don't go to bars, I don't go to church. Church, how would I even meet another person? I just want to hide in the house and, if possible, sleep for 20 hours a day. I just want it all to end. I've had fantasies of just running away from all of it, just hiding from the world, finding a cabin somewhere, and just letting nature take its course. I'm not as mentally present as I should be, not at work, not anywhere. If I smile, it's an act. If I laugh, it's for show. My soon-ex told my kids that I didn't fill her with love, and this new person does. Just these horrifying paper cuts that should roll off my back, because I can see I was definitely some sort of recipient from narcissistic abuse, but it doesn't. She's still beautiful and bubbly on the outside, and I can't help but wonder if it really was me. Was I really that bad? The last few years I've been so sad and depressed, wasting days in the basement just praying and hoping she would engage and try and work on things, and all that time she was working on someone else. She also told one daughter that I know how to give your dad just enough attention to keep him happy and quiet. How was I manipulated for 19 years? Is any of it real? Seriously, where do I go from this nowhere? I'm going nowhere, going to be working at a job I hate until my kids leave. And then what? Maybe the cabin in the woods. Today is my son's first football game. I'm dreading it. She will be surrounded by friends. I'm going to be sitting there alone, like a jerk off. I know it sounds so petty, but it's a microcosm of how this whole thing is going to go. That's what I get for building my kingdom inside my home, while she made hers with a vibrant social life. She steps into a ready-made life, created on my time and in dollar and sadness, and I'm left with the work, responsibility, and crushing solitude. In any event, it's a bad day. The boxes, the half-empty closet, the reminders of the affair. I feel amputated. I'm back to wishing for cancer, something to end it that doesn't scar my kids, something to just not feel anymore. Update. Well, STBXW moved back in, and it's been unpleasant. Wherever she was, she's back. She definitely stalled mediation, and we have our first meeting next week. She is estranged from the kids in the sense that they spend very little time together, and she is gone for long stretches of time. Whether she is with AP or now, I have no idea. But I know that's where the kids project what she's doing, and it's hurting them. It's a constant dark joke among them about where mom says she is versus where she is. She has to get out. She's stalling. One night, she forgot her key, and I locked the door and went to bed. Her response was to call the police. 1 a.m., cops at the door over a forgotten key. I think the cops knew she was nuts and didn't make a big deal of it, but she's looking for reasons to escalate. Thank God I have the kids. I won't be alone in the house with her. I leave if no one else is home for my own safety. As for me, I'm better. The X-rated thoughts are almost completely gone. I found out who AP is, and my jealousy evaporated immediately. He's short, 10 years older than me, and a mediocre attorney. It would have bothered me if he was some tennis-playing Adonis, but he's not. That helped a lot. No idea why, but I had drinks with an attractive older female colleague this weekend, and she told me I look better than ever, and then I will have women knocking down my door. It boosted my ego a bit, but honestly, I don't see it. I haven't had sex in over 2 years and have been primarily jerking off for as long as I can remember. Sex scares the crap out of me. God knows if I'll ever date again, but it's a cloud over me now. I'm lonely. I had a big work presentation and nailed it in front of the CEO. No one to share it with, no one to share my day with. It's a deep sense of loneliness that is now my biggest obstacle. My whole life is work, kids, gym. I'm living with a ghost in the house. I have to watch her leave, dressed to the nines, sometimes from 2 p.m. until way into the morning. Money is tight. My pay goes to support the family. My SDBXs goes right into her account for no idea. She's not helping. Gathering docs for mediation. It's all me. My life is 100% responsibility and solitude, and I don't see an end to it. I don't know what it's all for. Why was I put on earth to suffer? I'm not perfect by any means, but I don't deserve this. I've tried to be the best person I can in my whole adult life. My ex has been self-centered and serving for over a decade, and she won. She has the life. I have the drags. Am I better? 6 weeks out, I guess. But now instead of the trauma of the moment, I'm left with the reality of what my life is now. It's not any kind of life I worked for. Update. Let's see, where to begin? My ex has moved out. She didn't bother to tell me, or the kids she was moving out. She just packed up her stuff and left. Afterwards, she told my kids she was staying in a friend's guest house until her apartment is ready. So, I'm over most of the trauma in the sense that I'm not really thinking about her affair anymore. Yet, it pops into my mind from time to time, and I admit to feeling a little jealous that she has someone and I'm alone. But the despair, the absolute hellish thoughts and emotions, seem to be mostly gone. What's bothering me now is her mothering. I have 4 kids, 1 in college and 3 at home, 2 girls aged 17 and 15, and a 12-year-old son. They were outraged over the affair and became estranged. The weird thing is, my ex really isn't doing much to stay in their lives. She's acting like they owe her an apology for ostracizing her. If it was me in her shoes, I'd have ended or at least paused the affair and been wholly present for the time I had left in the home. She has done the opposite. She is gone, out most nights until 10 or 11, or later, totally gone every weekend, to the point I don't think she has spent an hour with these kids in months. She might text them a sappy text about how much she loves them, but in terms of quality time or her trying to make amends with them, 0. I have to admit I'm floored. This is the exact same dynamic that plagued our marriage when there was a problem, and she could be even partly responsible for it. She just would disappear and keep herself booked up all day and night. I took it so personally for years, and now I see the exact same dynamic playing out with the kids. It's like she expects them to chase her. My oldest daughter left for college in August. Literally, while this was going down, she comes home for Thanksgiving. My soon-ex is leaving town that weekend. Yes, they have been estranged, but to leave when she is coming home, with an opportunity to see her, seemed odd. She told my daughter, "You weren't going to spend any time with me anyway." I kind of always thought she was gone all these years because of me. Now, I'm seeing the precise dynamic with the kids. My kids are saying, "Dad, it was like this when she was here. It seems to be bothering you more than us." Maybe that's true, but I just can't believe the extent to which she has disengaged from them. Yesterday was Halloween. She was at a friend's down the street at a party. She did not even text our 12-year-old and try to see him. I'm stretched thin, or rather, I'm barely doing laundry, cooking dinner every night, driving them to sports and friends, and being on call all weekend to drive them around and keep tabs on them. I'm running the whole show now. There is no cover, not even a quick dinner or a vacuum. It's all on me. Do I try and intervene? When I mentioned to her how she was never here a few weeks ago, she replied, "No one talks to me. What am I supposed to do? Sit in my room alone?" I was thinking, yes, do whatever you have to do to have interactions with these kids. Now, after a few months, their feelings have hardened toward their mother, and I don't know if they will ever have her in their life again. She's moving a mile away. I'm not sure they will see much of her at all. Who is this person? What the hell happened? Okay, she hates me, cheated on me, whatever, but the kids, it's like they remind her of her failings, so she's just gone. I'm floored, and at this point, I think her mothering is worse to handle than her cheating on me with her tennis partner. She wants me to pay to furnish her apartment since she's leaving, most everything she wants. A $3,000 bed, a $3,000 bed. I know this is scattered, but I literally don't know who this person is from the outside. She is totally together, beautiful, bubbly, and popular. I can't reconcile any of it. None of this makes sense in any way whatsoever. She always prioritized her social life too much, but she was a great mother when they were little. Now it's like she's just moving on and not even glancing back at them. Update. Hello friends, I wanted to give you an update. It's been about 5 months since July when I at 49, found out my soon-to-be ex-wife, a 48-year-old female, was having an affair with her tennis partner. The affair was conducted in a very public way. My kids became estranged from her because they found out about the affair before I did. 5 months have made a significant difference, actually. I started feeling much better once I found out who the affair partner, AP, was. He's 10 years older, short, chubby, and less successful. Not that it matters, but in a way, it kind of does. Knowing she stepped down gives me some level of satisfaction. My marriage was very lonely, so once the initial shock wore off, I really began to feel better. So here we are. The divorce details are still not finalized. We didn't file until October because we made an attempt at mediation, which failed. She is still with the AP, and honestly, I couldn't care less. She is still, to some extent, estranged from the kids. Maybe she sees them for a few hours a week, but no more. There is still a lot of conflict between them, and she clearly has no idea how to fix it. Her priority is still largely her social life, with tennis, bars, and house parties being the driving force behind her life. The kids are doing great. Their grades are higher than they were when we were married, and they seem to be very comfortable with being under my care. My youngest girl, for instance, said, "Dad, she wasn't here when you were married, so now at least we don't need to worry about what she is doing." My therapist suggested I go on a few dates, just to get social and meet new people. That's been an eye-opener. Turns out I have some appeal on the dating scene. I've had sex a couple of times. That was weird, but it was also an ego boost. One lady in particular has sort of captured my attention, but we are taking things very slow. We see each other once a week, sometimes less. She is kind, sweet, and beautiful, and we're just playing it by ear, taking things very slowly. It's just nice to be around someone who wants to be around me. But I'm well aware of the dynamic of escaping into a new relationship, so we are really just enjoying each other's company when we can, and not becoming meshed. Even the kids want me to date. The lesson is, I don't know why I was worried about meeting ladies and being undesirable. That has not been the case at all. It looks like I will be paying her some support, just because I make 4 times what she does. Even with her child support, it nets out with me owing money. It's tight, but not completely unmanageable. As soon as we get the divorce details finished, I am looking forward to the future. This was all very traumatic. I did love this woman, and I would have forgiven anything except this. X is being generally quite nice. I got C last week, and she brought me chicken soup. I almost fell out of my chair. I didn't have any, however. I'd rather starve than accept it from her. She said I'm being cordial. The kids seem happy with me, at least. We have a routine that's working for everyone, and the house is running smoothly. I'm getting laid and enjoying the lack of stress from worrying about what she is doing. She is struggling still, estranged from the kids, and despite her busy social calendar, seems to be living a rather sad life. This forum and the private messages really helped me. Sure, there are more challenges to come, but I survived it, and I will be damned if I'm going to let this define me and ruin my life. I'm optimistic about the future, and I couldn't say that when we were together. I'm sure I'll post a bit more as we finish everything up, but my message is, if you're in the thick of it and all feels lost, take a deep breath and just keep going. Things will get better. Love you guys. Update. Some of you may remember my series of posts. I hit a wall in the divorce, not sure how to navigate that. The kids seem to be distancing themselves from mom more and more. My daughter, 18, 17, 16, barely see her. Maybe they stop by for dinner once or twice a week, tops. My son, 12, soon 13, has gone from, "I'll stay with mom a couple of times a week," to "Dad, I don't want to go there." I have given her access 100% of the time she's asked. Dinner? Sure. You want to pick the boy up from practice? Sure. We live under a mile apart. This shouldn't be hard. But the divorce keeps getting nastier and nastier. All I've done is essentially tell her she can see and host the kids as often as she wants. But the kids don't want that. They say she acts strange, alternates between raging at them and then crying and guilt-tripping them, to acting like everything is normal. The problem is, she's taking it out on me, going from mediation to a collaborative divorce with opposing counsel, to now going to court. And all I've done is say yes to every request. My professional life is suffering because I can't focus, which is its own form of stress. Has anyone experienced this? I can't force the kids to see her. They drive, they have lives and minds and opinions of their own. But the more they avoid spending time with her, the more difficult my divorce gets. It's the most frustrating time of my life. I literally don't know what to do when I'm tired of having my stomach in knots. How do I navigate this? Update. What can I say? It still isn't over. Some of you may remember my history. My ex was cheating with her tennis partner after years of prioritizing her social life over our family. We have 4 children together, from a freshman in college down to 8th grade. The children are still with me. All 4 of them have cumulatively spent under 10 nights with her in the past year, despite her living less than a mile away. She fought to have a court-appointed attorney for the kids, claiming parental alienation after a forensic parenting audit. The attorney came back and said, "Nope, these kids are smart and healthy and savvy, and they stay with that." She will not engage and approve of any kind of parenting plan. It's been a nightmare. My philosophy has been the kids can see and stay with her whenever they want. That's apparently not enough. She has them for dinner a couple of nights a week, but only on nights she doesn't have tennis or drinking plans with her coven of degenerate friends. I've had a successful career, but the last year has taken its toll, both financially and career-wise. I'm $80,000 in debt to lawyer fine, and nothing has been resolved. She just sort of ignores everything, and I guess we are headed to trial. We literally have not had one sit down to discuss finances. She is just in la-la land, ignoring everything until the last minute, while fees go up and up. She got fired by her first attorney and now has someone more competent, but at $850 an hour. It's so frustrating to work your whole life, save and invest, only to see your finances amputated right as you reach 50 and your career slows down. She wants me to buy her out of the house for $300,000, which will leave me very liquid in a very high-tax state, New York, while my income is dropping and I have little time to recover before I'm put out to pasture in my industry. She makes so much less than me, I will still be able to manage even after factoring in her child support. Oh, and my second and third will start college in the next 2 years. Yeah, I'm winning the love and respect of my children, and that's worth more than money, but I'm going to be living in a tar paper shack in retirement. This is after decades of saving and accumulating a few $1,000,000 and having some financial security. It's beyond frustrating. I did make a later friend who is great, patient, and not clingy or needy, given my situation, and that is a nice reprieve. But the stress is growing and growing. That's nice, but I keep it to seeing her once every week or 2. I'm not interested in getting too enraged while I am dealing with this. She is still with the AP, but honestly, I don't give a crap. She can run a train on the tennis club in the town square, and I wouldn't care. I just want this person out of my life and a chance at some level of security going forward. The kids are good. Their grades are up from when we were together. They seem to be taking it in stride despite having essentially one parent. She's taking trips, going on tennis tournaments a week in Europe this summer. Meanwhile, I spend my weekends doing laundry and cooking meals for the week. I am trying to be stoic and accepting of what it is, but don't expect fairness. The best I can hope for is some level of freedom. Job stress blows. I can barely give it any focus. I have too much going on, and the future is too uncertain for me to give it the effort required. I hated my job in less stressful times. Now it's almost unbearable. That's it for now. Now I can't believe it's still not over. I'm not sure we've really settled anything. And yet she manages to manufacture enough chaos that my lawyer is billing $12,000 a month. What a crap show.